Newcastle. And in Newcastle, I work as a maths teacher in the college. But I'm also interested in community gardening and community organising and like food, getting good food to people, building culture, sharing music, sharing art, and like dancing and partying. So I would say it's an interest.
Yeah. That's good. What about you?
Hi,
Nick?
I'm Nikki. I co-founded Fashion Revolution, which I guess is what brought me to this point here, to Degrowth. That was about 10 years ago, and I teach at the Edinburgh College of Art in the textiles department.
Yeah.
And I was in the fashion industry for about 20 years, which I just saw so many things that were so exploitative that really spurred me to then co-found Fashion Revolution. So
Good, thank you. We all done the course together anyway, so I know you would spend so much time, 5 days in the West Coast.
Yeah.
My goodness. I enjoyed. I met so many friends there. And today we're just going to talk about what we did, and now just kind of like feedback in ourselves as well, sharing like friends and stuff. But the question is for all of us, even myself. The question is, what do degrowth and human ecology mean to you? Okay.
Okay, so I guess like my first encounter with human ecology was when I read the Soil and Soul book by Alistair McIntosh.
Yeah.
And so what it meant to me then was like, wow, like people are actually studying how we live with each other, like with the land, in like a different way than I had thought of it before. It wasn't like a scientific way, although it draws on science. It wasn't like a social science way, although it obviously will draw on elements of that. And it wasn't strictly a humanities way of studying things either. But like just the way that Alistair McIntosh drew in like poetry and indigenous knowledge and like knowledge of the landscape, and ultimately it's like about this sort of reflective kind of process of like, I don't know, like creating culture, understanding culture, creating culture, and thinking about how we like intertwine with each other. So I guess that's what it means to me, but I'm developing.
For me, I can add up as well. I was so enjoyed his teachings because I remember walking the room. There was a picture of Robert Mugabe. There, I was like, "Oh my God, what is he going to talk about?" But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed him so much. It was like one of the best. Maybe, no matter. But same to you, Nick. You can also like jump into the same question we just asked. What that means to you, like to be part of this course.
It's been incredible. I think with most things that you start becoming involved with, I knew from an industry point of view, like I had to not be a fashion designer anymore because I couldn't churn stuff out, and now there's huge problems with waste. There's so much exploitation. The only way for the fashion industry, it's so huge, and it's one of the most problematic industries in the world.
Yeah.
The only way is degrowth, really. So I had to kind of come to that, and then just very fortunately got this course dropped into my inbox, and straight away it was like, I connect with this. I need to, find my people, because quite often when you're working as an activist, or even in education, you quite often feel quite alone, that you're, or sometimes it can be quite disheartening because, especially, it's tough work that we're doing, trying to change systems that are very deep rooted. And so actually through the course, like I think people and community is the richest thing for me. That's, meeting all these amazing, inspiring people. And I feel like we've kind of got a bit of community it's happening here, you know, which is just wonderful. It's been so nice. It was 2 weeks ago that we all met for the first time, and it feels like we've all known each other for a lot longer.
Yeah, it kicked off.
And so lovely to see everybody today again, you know. You can feel the love in the room, you know, we're all like supporting each other, and that's what I think it's...
For me, I think I'll say thank you, Nick, because you gave me a lift and you dropped me in front of where I'm working in Edinburgh. I was like, wow, this was a miracle. I was like, I'm gonna go home, and you know, but you really helped me. That's nice. For me as well, I got some to meet nice people. I never feel so good in my life. Like I've been in some groups, like you know, the energy is so difficult. Yeah. But this group was so nice. Walking in the living room, breakfast time, it was chatting cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed so much and stuff like that, and I learned as well. I think the second question I also have to talk about as well is about how do you put this course into practice in work or in your community? For example, you talk about your teacher, your gardener, stuff like that. So are you gonna, after this course, are you gonna use this course for some? How do you put it in practice?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, and I think like what I have become more aware of is that it's not necessarily about like a particular project that you're doing, but it's more like a way of being. So like for me, it's much, I've like started to really value people a lot more, which is quite a strange thing to say. Like maybe like really kind of, you know, human ecology approach, like means like really like, you know, the people are everything, and the connections between the people are everything, and like, no, this links into the degrowth ideas of like degrowing parts of the economy that don't value human life and human thriving and like the life of our ecosystems and stuff like that. So like I think that's the biggest thing that's going to change for me, and it's going to, hopefully I'm just going to try and bring it into every aspect of my life. So I am making sure that I value people properly, because I actually think like capitalist society teaches us not to value people. We're told to value quotas or deadlines or products or like all of that kind of stuff. So that's what I'll be taking forward. And like even when you have community groups that are like benevolence, the wrong word, but like if you got community groups that try and do good work in the community, you're not immune from like that kind of thing where you stop valuing people enough. So like I think it's that's what's going on for me anyway right now.
Absolutely. I really want to take this into my teaching. I've already kind of started, you know, but it's care. I think that's the thing. We've all kind of cared for each other on this course, and seeing how important that is, and value, I think, is a very important word as well. I think that how it's intertwined, isn't it? And you know, for me, like we need to be kind of looking at nature. And so I've definitely like been bringing in a more nature, trying to get students out of studio and kind of connecting with nature more. I just see that growing more and more, you know.
I'm the same, because I start talking about this human ecology. I didn't know about it. Like, humans visit non-human. I'm like, okay, that's cool. We've done this already in Africa in our villages, but without acknowledging we're doing the stuff. Like people always saying, you should do the community development course. I've been volunteering for years. I think that's the same thing. It's just that when you go study, it gives you more attention. Like you pay attention, you feel like you own your knowledge to practice. So I think I agree with you about when you talk about nature. I do lots of gardening as well, volunteering and stuff. So this one gives me some boost on that. So the last
back to what Kate was saying, like as well, like we've been kind of here, and you know, particularly in the UK, you know, we are being shaped through school to be consumers, you know. So that's certainly my viewpoint from the sort of fashion industry side of things.
Yeah, sure.
So that we're not citizens, we're consumers. So we're trying to shift that narrative as well, and that actually, people are connected to nature and all of that.
I remember I was talking to you about, I was going to do the, what's called the clothing companies inquiry. I look at it, I was like, there's not enough evidence actually for me to step up and talk about it, because I'm in the UK, but the things, when I left in Africa, what they're happening, though, like, really horrible. Like, if for every market in African countries, it's like clothes, and people have no money to buy. But what they do, they go and pile them somewhere, like end up like rotting, and the rain comes, and then that juice of everything goes to the river.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? Or the cows, they eat clothes. It's so many what's called destruction environmental things, that even domestic animals, they end up eating this plastic stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
and it's that uncaring, you know, like that we buy, our lives are made to be so busy that we don't have time to think. We're not conscious when we're buying. We don't think about where it comes from, where it's made, who made it. But then it goes back to how it's so cheap, we just throw it away, and then no thought to where it ends up. And that's what you're saying, Nico, you know, like it's hugely problematic in Africa.
Yeah.
Like,
And now the technology, for me, I think that's the thing that I blame a lot for young kids. Got phones, they see this flashing thing go on, like, oh, I like this, I want to be like that, and it's gone too far.
Yeah.
But for us, I don't know, we're going to close by saying, this is the last question. I'm going to talk about it as well. This is the last one. Tell me more about your journey from here to the future to come. My journey to the future to come is going to be like having discussions with people on the podcast.
Nice.
And as well, I'm trying to help our refugees and asylum seekers to know how to produce the podcast themselves and stuff. So in that way, it allows people to our voices to be heard, you know, and because as a refugee, you've always been asked, tell me your story. But they never tell us that story. I'm talking about the service providers. They never tell us their story. How do you feel when you go home, listen to so many sad stories? You know, I mean, like, it must impact people somewhere in the head. So I'm trying to tell that narrative, like I've mixed it up.
yeah,
So get everybody involved.
I would love you to like interview some of the people at the markets in Africa, and like for them voices to be heard and their experiences, like, because again it's all education, isn't it?
Exactly.
We need to know and see.
I can do that. I'm going to try, because now there's technology. I can try and see if I set up a Zoom interview with some people there and see if it works. That'd be amazing as well.
Yeah, it would be.
I think that's my gen for next year. What else do I do?
Where are you going?
I'm a community researcher with NACOM. I don't know if you know NACOM. It's I would say a project or charity in England. They work about refugees, non-accommodation. They help people without accommodation. So they created this network of what's called members. So for example, if you're in Newcastle, you go to the spare room, then there's a refugee like making to sleep for a couple of days, or you can keep them there. And but they met you proper. It's not like just send someone. So, but we've done a report that is out. I'll share it on our group, about the homelessness. I went to London to do the exhibition about homelessness museum. It's gonna be launched in April properly. So you're walking, you got these nice pictures, telling stories and stuff. So that's my journey for next year, to keep doing that, work in the community.
Amazing.
What about you, Kat?
What is my journey? I have absolutely no idea what my journey is going to be, but I think, I'm like very interested by how a lot of traditional roles, traditional jobs, like people seem to be kind of rejecting them slightly. I mean, like you're talking about education and you're working in the fashion industry, both having problematic elements, and like lots of people on this course are kind of taking alternate routes and like finding different ways. They're expressing dissatisfaction for the status quo. So I think my journey probably is going to be to watch that and like be part of it in my own way, and like just be interested in like how people navigate these like changing times, because there's a lot of energy around at the minute for like change, and a lot of positive energy, and a lot of like feels like a lot more listening is happening, and a lot more inclusion seems to be much more important than maybe it was like 10 years ago. So I'm excited by all of this. So my journey is to just try to keep growing and
think people are waking up on it spiritually, for example. Like, I think people are waking up a lot. You know,
it's interesting, isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah,
when
I came to Europe, I never know about yoga, meditation, and all that stuff. It's very exciting. And I've done a course 5 years ago in Glasgow. That was like 3 weeks something. I had to meditate, and lots of nice speakers coming. So like, what I'm trying to say, I can see the shift of people changing. Like spirituality is getting better and better, and people are taking care of themselves. Of course, we still go out do some stuff, but there's still when we all got our space in life. Like
it's about slowing down, isn't it? Like I think meditation and yoga at least allow people time to think, from the crazy business and social media and all of that stuff that just clogs their minds. So I think you've got something there.
Yeah, no, it's I really want to explore more, and then so I can talk about it, raise awareness, because I'm always worried about my community. When I say my community, I hate that word, but when I'm in community, like we're all from different backgrounds and different countries. So I've got people from Zimbabwe, for example, in Glasgow, people from Congo, people from Africa. That's the community I'm talking about. So it's kind of like, if I can draw them to this spiritual ground, maybe we can have a healthy community instead of panicking about money and this and stuff, you know, and draw them to this worry. They worry too much, people, about because got family at home, they are struggling and stuff. Just get somewhere we can come out instead of like drinking. And so I think that's my other gem. Sorry.
I think it comes back to people and people that are around you, and how if you start to change your environment by even people that you're with, like that's where I think this has been really fantastic. Because you're so inspired by people taking action, sort of stepping out of the normal system. It's very hopeful. I feel like you feel more power to kind of change the system.
I'll do that. Thank you so much for coming to the podcast.
Thank you, Nico.
It's really nice to have you. And
Thank you.